In this video, I'll explain the process I used in which to pin an Imperial moth. I should start by saying that I'm by no means an expert at this. This was the first time I had done this, though it was a lot of fun and it turned out pretty well. I'll also not speak to the ethics or methods for capturing or euthanizing these animals, but I will say that immediately after their death occurs, you do have a small window of time for which to actually pin them. So far what I've done is place a pin through the thorax of the moth. I've then placed it perfectly center within the middle of this homemade bug pinning board that I've made, and tried to align it so that when the wings are outstretched, they'll be perfectly level with the sides of it. The next and most difficult step is to use tweezers and gently outstretch the wings. These wings will have a natural tendency to snap back closed when released, so you'll use a pin and place it just below to keep them open. You need to take your time here. Make sure that the wings are symmetrical on both sides and that you're happy with the positioning. Once this moth is dried, it will be impossible to move these wings again without breaking them. Once the wings are positioned correctly, you'll use pre-cut strips of wax paper, which is pinned down on both sides. Placing these over the wings and using it to hold them down prevents you from having to pin through the actual wing itself. At this point you're almost done, but the one thing you may want to do is use additional pins to secure the legs and antennae in a position that is good for display as well. At this point I'll allow this moth to dry for about a week. It's best to do this in a warm environment that's not overly humid. Now that it's had time to dry, I'll carefully remove these pins. You need to be just as careful with this step as you were when you pinned it down. It's far more fragile now that it's dried. I've moved this moth into a shadow box for display. Due to my lack of experience, I actually did crack the wing, but it still looks pretty good, and I learned a lot from this process. Anyone looking for a more in-depth explanation on this can feel free to reach out to me. I'll always answer any questions I can.